everybody, in today's video we're going to be ranking every operator mod in Call of Duty Black Ops 4. And since I want you to be able to come back to this video as a reference, I'm going to go ahead and include timestamps of the specific weapon class setups in the description below. So if you enjoy the video at any point or do find the video helpful, please remember to hit that like button. And if you're brand new to the channel or you're one of the 72% that haven't hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit that red subscribe button, turn it to gray, and if you ring that bell, you'll get a notification every time I post a brand new video. And just so you have a heads up, the typical content I'll cover is news, tips and tricks on how to improve at Call of Duty, as well as best class setups and subscriber gameplay breakdowns. So let's go ahead and start with the worst operator mod on this list, and that is going to be the Vkm Fat Barrel. When the game first launched, this was a very powerful attachment, but as the game progressed, they went ahead and nerfed it, so it doesn't really do much at all. So if you're using it as part of your class setup, I would highly recommend changing that out for something else. So for number 18 on the list, I went ahead and put the Strife Stiletto knife. And the reason why I put this one so low on the list, it's going to go ahead and take up 3 of your pick 10 slots, and it's not a very viable class setup unless you're just trying to go around and stab people around the map. And in my opinion, you'd be much better off using a standard Strife best class setup and then just shot punching people if you want that instant kill. So number 17 on the list is actually going to be the Vapor Bayonet, and it's for the exact same reasons as the Strife Stiletto knife, because it's going to take up so many of that pick 10. You're better off just using a regular best class setup for the Vapor and then shot punching people if you want that instant kill. So for these next two, I'm going to be fairly honest with you. I'm not a sniper. I don't really think the Outlaw bolt cylinder at number 16 is very effective. I know a lot of people will use it if they're having trouble going for their challenges. For the most part, if you know how to snipe or you're a sniper, I don't really see people using the Outlaw bolt cylinder. And the same thing goes for the number 15 weapon, the Karnage Clan. I think it could be very useful for quick scoping, but unless you're just a pure quick scoper, you're not really going to get much out of that attachment. I know I'm kind of breezing through these first ones because I don't really think they're all that great. And since there's 19 different operator mods to cover, I thought I'd spend a little bit more time on the ones that actually matter. So number 14 on the list is going to be the Titan Oppressor operator mod. And I know some of you probably have this one a little bit higher, but overall effectiveness, it doesn't really do much other than annoy the player you're going against. So if that's the goal, mission accomplished. But if you're actually looking to improve, I would never recommend equipping this attachment. So number 13 on my list is going to be the SG12 with the Strobe Light. And if we were just ranking this on pure annoying factor, this is going to be number 1 on my list. But obviously, since this is the best operator mod list, I'm not going to include it that high on the list. So number 12 on the list is actually for our newest operator mod and our only operator mod that has ever been added to the game, and that is the Burst Rush operator mod that is linked with the Tigershark. So the best Tigershark class setup using that Burst Rush operator mod is going to also include the Elo sight as well as stock and fast mags. And for those of you unfamiliar with the attachment, it's basically going to convert the fully automatic Tigershark into a 6-round burst with a burst delay between shots. Overall, I think this attachment is actually just okay. I don't think it's anything special. I think the biggest drawback is that burst delay. If you happen to miss your shots, this is not going to be your friend at all, because in between that burst delay, you're likely going to be dead. Next up on the list is going to be the Maddox with the Echofire operator mod, and the attachments I'm going to go ahead and run alongside with that are the Elo sight, stock, and quick draw. So even though this attachment is actually pretty decent, especially after they went ahead and reduced the recoil with it, I still don't see any kind of real benefit in making your weapon fire 2 bullets at once with a slower fire rate than just having it fully automatic. So now we finally cracked into the top 10, and we're going to be talking about the GKS with that Quadshot operator mod. And the attachments I like running with that are going to be reflex sight, long barrel, and extended mags. One of the nice things about them pairing this with the GKS is the GKS typically takes 6 to 9 shots to kill, and for most ranges that you're going to get into gunfights, it's going to be 8 or less. So knowing that, as long as you're able to hit your target, it's pretty much always going to be 2 bursts to kill, which is pretty nice if you don't mind spamming that trigger finger. The other nice thing about the GKS is it doesn't really need any attachments besides long barrel and possibly extended mags, so you're pretty much well off going with this class setup. You're not really sacrificing anything for grip because it doesn't have a ton of recoil. And if you don't mind the iron sights, you could pick up another perk if you want. So it has a little bit of versatility by running this particular operator mod. Next up at number 9 is going to be the Hades with the Crossbar. And the 2 attachments I'd run with this are hybrid mags and rapid fire. If you actually want to go ahead and take that extra leap and go with the 3rd attachment, you can go with the suppressor. So I'm sure some of you guys watched the video yesterday, me breaking down the Hades and explaining why I actually do not prefer the operator mod. But for anyone that missed it, I went ahead and kind of explained that it's more of a gimmick than anything. You do get the extra strafing speed but the power in this weapon is within its accuracy. It has very low recoil. If you're able to hit your shots, the time to kill is very reasonable. And I think generally what people will do is when they run the crossbar, they're going to become one-dimensional players. So they're only going to be choosing those close range engagements, strafing and gunfights that maybe they think they're going to win, but at some far distances you just get that bloom effect that you see in Fortnite, and it's not really all that effective as compared to just aiming down sight, seeing where the bullets are going to go, and control that recoil. Number 8 on the list is actually going to be the belt feed operator mod attached with the Cordite. You can see the other attachments are rapid fire, long barrel, and grip. You could easily drop grip for FMJ or something like that. You have a preference to go that direction. So there's actually a couple different reasons why I put the Cordite a little bit higher on the list than maybe people would expect. For the vast majority of class setups, you're always going to see extended mags or hybrid mags just because it gives you that little bit of extra bullet so you can take out more enemies. The Cordite gives you that same option. You could either go with the extended mags that's going to increase your ammo up to 90 per magazine, or go with the operator mod that's going to give you 600 bullets with an overheating mechanic that penalizes you for firing too many bullets at once. When it comes to the pick 10, I think they're pretty even because you don't have to run scavenger when you're running the operator mod, so that ends up being a push there. So I think the big deciding factor for me when I'm comparing these two is the overheating mechanic versus reloading with the 90 magazine. And overall, I think I've been caught reloading significantly more times than I've been caught overheating. I think I've only overheated the operator mod maybe 3 times, and I've used it quite a bit. So for it only to have overheated 3 times, and I think maybe only one of those times actually caused the death, it is definitely worth it to run this operator mod on the Cordite. So number 7 on the list is actually going to be the ABR with that repeater mod, and the other attachments I'm going to use are the ELO sight, extended mags, and suppressor. So back in the beta when the game first came out, the repeater operator mod was very overpowered. It was almost too good in every possible way, and I think it was a lot of people's go-to weapon. But like most overpowered things, they generally get nerfed, and this one got nerfed pretty hard. They made it so that when you run the repeater operator mod, you don't really see a noticeable difference until you hit that 3rd burst. But then it continues to accelerate between those bursts, so you almost get to a point where the weapon feels like full auto. So I think the tricky part with this weapon is it kind of sucks in those one-on-one engagements because you don't really need to burst anyone more than 2 times. But where this operator mod really shines is when you're getting into those engagements with 2 or 3 people, because what ends up happening is you're going to take out the first person in the regular time to kill, the second one slightly faster, and the third even faster than that. So I think as long as you understand the difference between those one-on-one engagements and those multiple engagements, you'll actually still be able to maximize this specific attachment. So the best class setup for the Spitfire with that Wildfire operator mod is just going to be quick draw and extended mags. And this one is at number 6 just because it is so lethal. The time to kill is so quick with this weapon at 1500 RPM being the fastest RPM in the entire game. It is absolutely broken when you're in that close quarter engagement and you can hit your shots. There's only a handful of weapons in certain scenarios that can actually kill faster than this weapon at that point blank range. So I highly recommend trying this one out. I'm actually surprised it never got a hard nerf to the Wildfire operator mod. One other side note about the class setup is you don't really want to run stock if you're going to be running the operator mod, because if you fire the weapon, you're not able to strafe. It's just a built-in mechanic. I guess you're firing too fast, you can't control the weapon or whatever the case is. So just something to keep in mind if you decide to alter the class setup in any way. So we have finally cracked that top 5 list, and we're going to keep cruising along. The next one up on the list is going to be the Saug 9mm with the dual wield operator mod. And when you go with this operator mod, you're pretty limited on attachments. All you can equip is fast mags and a suppressor. So at the end of the day, that's all you really need. But if you feel like they're not as strong as they could be, I would definitely go ahead and just drop the suppressor. So what makes this one so crazy is the time to kill. It literally cuts the regular Saug 9mm's time to kill in half. So the regular Saug 9mm has a time to kill of about 400 milliseconds, and you're getting that cut in half to around 200 milliseconds because both weapons are firing at about 900 rounds per minute. When you actually combine that fire rate, you're talking about 1800 rounds per minute, which is just an incredible number when you're talking about rate of fire. So I definitely recommend you try this one out. Keep in mind that most of your engagements need to be in that shotgun range, or else you're probably going to get melted before you even land a bullet. So number 4 on the list is actually going to be the Swordfish with that Pentaburst attachment. I'm using a reflex sight, long barrel, and FMJ. If you're not going up against anyone that's using body armor, you can go ahead and swap out FMJ for high caliber so you get more consistent one burst kills. You could increase your ammo capacity by using an attachment, but in case you guys didn't know, when you equip the Pentaburst, it will automatically give you extra ammo in your magazine. And even though I think this weapon is actually a little bit more versatile without that operator mod, when you're landing your shots crisp with this operator mod, it's pretty much unfair. The person you're going up against does not have a chance to react because they will die in one burst. No matter what weapon they're using, as long as you land that first bullet first, they're dying. One of the only really drawbacks with this weapon is there is a little bit more of a delay between your bursts, which isn't really a big deal. But the biggest issue, in my opinion, is the inconsistency in number of bursts. Sometimes it's 1 burst, sometimes it's 2. But if you decide to not use the operator mod, it's pretty much always going to be 2 bursts. So you can know that, hey, every time I get into a gunfight, I have to pull the trigger twice. Whereas with the Pentaburst, you're a little bit unsure and maybe you're going to end up wasting some ammo. So we've actually made it to the number 4 weapon on the list, and that is going to be the Auger DMR with Double Tap, along with High Caliber 1, High Caliber 2, and the Reflex Sight. And this one is actually very similar to the Swordfish. You get that 1 burst potential where you can hit someone in the chest and above, and they're gonna die. There is no chance for them to recover, and they're gonna feel like there was a ton of lag or something, because they're not gonna even feel the hit markers. Literally, they insta melt so quick that they don't even have a chance to react. And like I said with the Swordfish, the drawback for this one is there's a little bit of inconsistency. Sometimes you're gonna hit a little bit below the chest, so maybe it's gonna require 2 bursts instead of that 1. So even though I think for the most part it's a little unnecessary, because if you have a decent trigger finger, you're gonna be able to have a fast time to kill, I think the overall kill potential being 1 burst and your opponent having 0 opportunity to react makes it just a little bit overpowered. And number 2 on the list has to be the Mog 12. I think this weapon is a little bit overpowered with that Dragon's Breath, rapid fire, long barrel, and the barrel choke. So before the changes to this weapon, it was just an average weapon. Even with Dragon's Breath, it wasn't all that great, but they couldn't leave well enough alone. They had to buff the range of this weapon so it had a greater one-shot kill potential. And on top of that, they modified the way Dragon's Breath worked. Prior to the change, pretty much how it would work is you get hit with the shotgun pellets and then you'd get fire damage over time. But with the change, now the shotgun pellets hit, there's a slight delay, and then you get fire damage all at once. So even though I think the Mog 12 actually needs a slight nerf to its range so it's not quite as strong, I don't think that change will ever happen because it actually has direct counters in game. So in case you guys didn't know this, you should always have a backup class setup that includes body armor and flak jacket. So if you're running up against someone using this particular class setup, they will not be able to kill you in 1 burst unless you're low health. So that's more of a bonus tip, but let's go ahead and jump into the number 1 operator mod in my opinion. That's the Skull Splitter operator mod for the Mozu revolver. So the class setup's going to include that compact scope, speed loader, and the stabilizer, so you can make sure you're as accurate as possible with the Mozu and the Skull Splitter. And the thing that really makes it so valuable is the time to kill is essentially 0. If you hit that headshot, they're dead. They don't get a chance to react. There's no counter play. There's nothing. You hit the headshot, they're dead. And if you factor in the fact that it's a revolver, you're going to be very limited on ammo. So if you opted to not run the Skull Splitter operator mod, you're going to be able to kill 2, maybe 3 people max between reloads. So that was my list. I'd love to know your guys' top 5 operator mods down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video anyway or found it helpful, please remember to hit that like button. And if you made it to this point in the video and haven't yet subscribed, just hit the red subscribe button, turn it gray. If you want notifications, cool, just go ahead and ring that bell. If not, no big deal, at least you'll be subscribed to the channel. Do appreciate all the support. Thank you guys for watching. As always, have a great day.